This is K9WLW with another video regarding Brandmeister Manager and Static Talkgroups, and a really cool feature on how you can manage static talkgroups with multiple hotspots. Okay, one thing I've noticed, the more hotspots you have, the more things get complicated. I'll give you an example. Right now I have this Pi star connected to Brandmeister. 3102 is my preferred Brandmeister server here. And I have no active static talk groups, no active dynamic talk groups. So it's a clean slate. I can key up a talk group and it would activate dynamic, or I can add static talk groups on this Brandmeister, or on this Pi star, I should say, with the Brandmeister Manager, which I added by adding the Brandmeister API code. I had a video a few weeks ago where I demonstrated how to do that. Now, what I can do in this case, actually I must have an auto static group that's still loaded in to talk group 9. Or I'm sorry, because I'm getting talk group 91. So let me drop QSO. See, when you have a dynamic talk group and only one dynamic talk group, if you let it decay, it'll go into auto static mode and remain there indefinitely until you key up a new talk group or you do a 4000. So I'm going to drop all dynamic here on this, and that should clean that up. Because I see traffic was coming in on the hotspot. I don't even have a radio on for the moment for that frequency. Well, apparently it's still coming in. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'll go back to the configuration page. Yes, I know I said this is about Openspot, but I wanted to show you something with multiple hotspots. On a Pi star, you have in the DMR configuration, when that's your only, I only have the DMR mode activated currently, nothing else to complicate it. You'll notice in the DMR configuration you have your DMR ID, and you'll notice this little drop down to the next of it, or to the right of it, right next to it. Right now it says none. Okay, what this is you can, when you have multiple hotspots connected to Brandmeister at the same time, you run into some conflict with one DMR ID. I only have the one. So with Pi star, you can add a suffix, a 2-numbered suffix to your DMR ID. Okay, so that you can have multiple hotspots with 2 different suffixes to your DMR ID, and they will operate independently and they won't conflict with one another. You'd never want to have either no suffix in multiple hotspots on at the same time, or the same suffix in multiple hotspots at the same time. So again, very, very careful. Make sure you don't do that. You'll run into some conflict with the Brandmeister server. So again, it's something you want to avoid. Now, that being said, I came to notice when you add static talk groups to one of your DMR suffix profiles. In my case, it's the O2. So I'm going to click on the none. I'm going to tap on O2. Now with the Pi star, you have to hit apply changes. Oops. Sorry about the camera work. I do not have a professional camera, and I know my videos are very low quality. They're more about information than they are about presentation. I don't have the equipment to do these more professionally, and I apologize for those that would like to see it better. Okay, I'm waiting for the apply changes to update. Pi star's a little slow. Okay, now it's starting to move along. And it's still moving along. Okay, it is updated. I'm going to go to the admin page on the Pi star. I'm in the O2 suffix. Now look, all of a sudden I've got this massive list of static talk groups. It was over 90 of them at my last count. And this has been kind of an experiment I've been running. But you'll notice I've got no dynamic talk groups currently because I haven't keyed any up, and these are all static. Now, as it is right now, if I were to tune to the Pi-Star hotspots frequency, it would basically be scanning for activity in all of those static talk groups. And then occasionally somebody will key up in one of those and it'll capture it and it'll play it to the radio. Sort of a scanning feature. Now imagine, none of these talk groups are necessarily hugely busy. They're not like 91 or 3100 or 31656 America's Link, where you're going to get traffic all the time. And that's kind of the idea. I wanted to pick state and regional state talk groups and maybe a few countries, and just started adding them and adding them and adding them. And over a few weeks, I've gotten the list pretty long. Again, this is experimental. And again, this may be a little strange. Some people might not want to operate this way. Okay, well, here's a really cool thing. Okay, remember I added the O2 to the suffix. Okay, now we're going to finally get to the Openspot. I got to go back to the configuration page first because I'm going to show you how to add the suffix on the Openspot platform. It's a little different, but it works. So I'm going to go back to configuration. I'm going to go back and get rid of that O2 and just go to my standard ID. Switch it to none. I got to hit apply changes, and unfortunately I got to wait before I go to the Openspot. So I'm going to go back to none and just the straight ID, and that's going to show that I have no more static talk groups because I only have these static talk groups programmed in my DMR ID if I add the 02 to the suffix. So if I add none or 01 or 03 or 04, no static talk groups. And that's what I usually use for normal QSOs. I don't have statics, just key up dynamics as I need them. Okay, it's finally updated. Back on the admin page, we'll just confirm and make sure they're all gone. See? No more static talk groups, no dynamics. So, I'm going to go away from that and finally get back to the Openspot. Now on the Openspot, and this applies to Openspot 1, 2, or 3, next to your DMR ID, further down the page, here we go. You have your call sign, you have your DMR ID. Notice how I have a 04 after my DMR ID. Okay? If I go to the tools page, DMR ID, look and see what static talk groups I have. I have none. Now watch what happens. I'm going to go back to the connectors page. I'm going to modify the suffix after my DMR ID. I'm going to change it to that 02 or 02 that I mentioned. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to back out the last two digits. I'm going to type in 02. Okay, and then with the Openspot, you got to go down to the bottom of the page, hit the save button. And the Openspot's going to wake up.
Openspot connected to Brandmeister 3102.
And I'm now connected to Brandmeister 3102. If I go to the tools page, already I'm getting activity in all these static talk groups. Take a look at this. Look at all those static talk groups that I had on the Pi-Star. They all transferred over to the Openspot. So you can literally hand off these static talk groups from hotspot to hotspot. Again, you got to be careful. Never use the same suffix on two hotspots at the same time. But with all these static talk groups, even though none of these are hugely busy talk groups, you get a lot of traffic. So it's actually a lot of fun because you get to listen to a bunch of stuff from wherever in all these groups, and it keeps the radio a little busy. Right now, it looks like statewide Texas, which is 3148. So, well, here's the cool thing. Remember, it's static. I haven't dynamically keyed it up. Well, in an earlier video, I've set up promiscuous mode, so I can hear anything that comes out of the hotspot. Doesn't matter what talk group. Doesn't matter if I even have it in the talk group list. I've unlocked the manual dial and capture the talk group feature, which I demonstrate in prior videos. So now all I have to do is hit the star key. Monty reply set success. Now if I key up 3148. So that easily to join the talk group. Let me see if they can hear me. This is Texas Statewide 3148.
Those headphones, but I haven't got them in yet. They're coming. They'll be real nice to listen to music to. All my speakers and stuff from Bose, I've always been real proud of them.
K9WLW. Let's see if they answer.
K9WLW, this is KG5RZX. Come on in.
Thank you, Jimmy. This is K9WLW, Frank in Tampa, Florida. I was configuring a hotspot and also doing a demonstration video on YouTube. I just wanted to quickly test to make sure that I got it configured correctly. And hopefully I'm getting into the talk group cleanly.
Coming in loud and clear. There was a little bit of packet loss there at the very end, but you're doing good.
Okay, well I appreciate the shout, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm in the middle of a demonstration video demonstrating some configuration, so I'll let you guys carry on, but I appreciate you let me break in for a short. So 73 is you and the other gentleman in Texas Statewide from K9WLW in Tampa, Florida.
You have a good day today and a better day tomorrow, and I hope everything goes well for your demonstration. KG5RZX, over.
Okay, I'm going to do an unlink because I keyed in. Now I'm in dynamically as well. So I'm going to unlink the dynamic. I'm going to manual dial a 4000. Do a quick kerchunk. Push to talk. I keep saying kerchunk.
Not linked.
And I've had people ask me, what does kerchunk mean? It's when you do a quick push to talk. It's old school. Hey, can I hit the repeater? You keyed up your handheld or your mobile and you just waited to see if the repeater would respond. We call that kerchunking. So anyway, so how, again, randomly I got Texas Statewide because it's in here. They're all in numerical order, by the way, when you add these static. There it is, 3148 right there. So it was one of the static talk groups. I just unlinked it so it's no longer dynamic. And I'm back to static, and now it's going to be quiet for a minute or two, and then it's going to kind of wake up and it's going to start searching for activity through all these talk groups. And it'll actually stop on there. On a talk group. It'll show me on the radio the talk group. I can capture it. I can key it up. I can jump in QSO like I just did there. I've done a number of states in this list. I've got most of the Texas groups, Florida, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Louisiana, maybe a couple others. I can't remember off the top of my head, but and then I added some international ones for like UK, Ireland, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, and so forth. And it keeps the radio a little busy, and it's really a cool feature. Now, you might say, hey, that's a lot of talk groups. I don't want to have my radio set up like that. Again, it's mainly searching for QSOs, searching for activity far and wide. If I want to go back to normal operation, I go back to the connectors page. I simply get rid of the O2. I'm going to change it back. I think this one was 04. So I'm going to change it to 04. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the screen and hit the save button, and it'll reconnect.
Openspot connected to Brandmeister 3102.
Okay. Now I can go back to the tools page, and you'll notice no more static talk groups. So now I'm in normal operation where I can just key up a dynamic and see what's going on. I've noticed when you just key up dynamics, you just kind of, hey, is anybody there? Or if you're looking on a dashboard, you might see something, and then, the Brandmeister last heard, and key one up and find activity there. Now again, this is a lot of fun for me because I've unlocked a manual dial feature on the Anytone, so I can key up any talk group at random. Or I can capture it with the star key, so that's a cool feature. But you kind of get the idea where you can go with this. I think that about covers it. Just to kind of give you some ideas, I've been studying this for a while, and it appears anytime a talk group goes quiet that you're hearing static, it takes maybe 5 minutes before it starts scanning for the other ones after the traffic subsides in the one talk group. But it doesn't take long after that for it to pick up another talk group with some activity. So again, it's a cool feature. Anyway, I thought I would just show you how that kind of feature can work, and you can really, really run into some DMR traffic in places that you normally wouldn't go dynamically. Please feel free to comment below, or if you have any questions, you're also welcome to email me at cq2meters@yahoo.com. 73's from K9WLW.